A very good morning to you, a very good day to you, and welcome back to the show. This is, of course, the Chat Wrap on Relax Radio, and we're going to be talking about a lot of interesting things that is happening all around the world with regards to entertainment, with regards to, real world problems that you absolutely need to know. So make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio. Go ahead and share your thoughts and opinions with me as well. 07852473473 is the number to do so, or you can very simply leave a comment down below and let me know what you are thinking. Let me know what's going on, because I would absolutely love to hear from you. With that being said, I also want to remind you that you can download our app. It's available absolutely free of charge on iOS and Android. So make sure that you download our app so that you can take us with you wherever it is that you are going. I am Jaimmy, and I'm going to be with you for a couple hours more, talking to you about a lot of interesting things. Right now, though, I do want to talk to you or give you an update about what's happening in Afghanistan, because I feel like I know that you are hearing it quite a lot in like today, especially. You're hearing it quite a lot. You're hearing a lot about Afghanistan in the past few days, actually. But it's definitely something that you need to keep yourself updated about, because, oh my goodness, when you hear the state of that country, when you hear the state of the people, it is so heartbreaking. And the least that we can do is to keep ourselves informed and keep ourselves involved in everything that's happening, because, they're human beings as well, and they're a part of our human community. And it doesn't matter that they're Afghans and we're from the UK, or it doesn't matter that we are separated by religion or race or country. What matters is that they are a part of the human race. And if one of us are hurting, then all of us are hurting as well. That is why I want to just give you updates with regards to what's happening in Afghanistan. Go ahead and let me know what you're thinking. I know right now everybody's just focused on like a blame game. Everybody's just blaming governments or whatnot. But let's focus on what we can do, and that's keeping ourselves informed and involved as well. Now, with that being said, Afghan evacuations are definitely going to be picking up with days to deadline. And the summary of everything that's happening in Afghanistan, according to the BBC, is that evacuations from Kabul airport in Afghanistan apparently pick up pace, with the total number leaving since the Taliban takeover actually reaching an insane amount. And I don't know if you're going to believe me, but it's 70,700 people that have fled the country since the Taliban takeover that happened just a few days back. So 70,700 people are leaving their homes just because of the fact that Taliban took over. US President Joe Biden says that he aims to complete the operation and US troop pull out by the 31st of August deadline. Of course, a lot of the troops, at least, well, we know that the air-based troops have already left. Some U.S. troops have already started to leave as the efforts enters into the final phase. U.S. allies have pressed Biden to extend the time frame, but of course, that doesn't seem to be the case. And President Biden still says that the deadline is going to be the 31st of August, when all of the troops are taken out of Afghanistan. There are fears that thousands of Afghans who wish to flee Taliban may be left behind, and the Taliban say that the Afghans should not go to Kabul airport or try to leave the country, which is so scary to hear. But yeah, as of today, the people that have left the country, left Afghanistan, left their home, left their families, left people that they love, has reached up to 70,700 as of today. That's 70,000 people that are fleeing their home because of the Taliban takeover. Again, who's to blame? I don't really know. That's up to you to answer. Go ahead and let me know by calling me on 07852473473 or by leaving a comment down below. Now, apart from that, the two U.S. congressmen apparently have traveled to Kabul airport today. And the news with regards to that is that two members of the U.S. Congress have actually faced criticism after making an unannounced trip to Kabul. And that's Seth Moulton. He is a Democrat, and Peter Meyer, Republican, Afghans spent several hours at the city's airport on Tuesday amid the continuing evacuation effort. So that's coming under a lot of criticism. But what's scary is that over half of displaced Afghans are children, according to the United Nations, and almost 60% of the Afghans who have been forced to leave their homes this year are children. And that to me is so heartbreaking, and I just wish that countries would open up their borders a lot more and accept the people of Afghanistan that are fleeing their country, the refugees, at least on a temporary basis, so that these people would have homes to actually go to, and they won't have to, deal this with the circumstances that the Taliban and well, basically, this situation wouldn't even have this situation wouldn't have been there in the first place if not of the involvement of all of these developed countries, right? That is my opinion. Of course, a lot of you have different opinions with regards to the Afghanistan situation, but I definitely think that we need to, at least as a developed world, as the global north, we need to at least open our borders to take in the refugees, to take in the children that are being displaced because of this Afghanistan situation. Go ahead and let me know what you're thinking. Leave a comment down below. Do you think that we need to open our borders so much more? And that a lot of countries are still tightening their border control with regards to the displaced Afghans. Displaced Afghans. What do you think? Go ahead and let me know. What is your opinion with regards to this? Just know that over half of the displaced Afghans are children. According to the UN, almost 60% of the Afghans who have been forced to leave their homes because of the Taliban takeover are actually children. I also want to talk to you about how the UN has actually received credible reports of execution of civilians that is already happening by the Taliban. And what is crazy to me is that the US troops, yes, they've started to leave, but they're supposed to be done leaving as of the 31st of August. So which means there are still US troops in Afghanistan, and only, more than half of the troops have left, of course. But there's still half, and there's still executions that's happening, which is insane to me. But we will be talking about that in just a minute. Right now, though, we're going to be heading off into a little break, but make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio. very good day to you, and welcome back to the show. We've been talking about Afghanistan so far. I just want to let you know that you could most definitely be a part of the conversation. Go ahead and share your thoughts and opinions with us. That is by calling us up on 07852 or by leaving a comment down below. Now, if you're listening to us on our social media, you do have the opportunity to have a live conversation with me, which means you can, drop a comment and I can reply and react and share your thoughts and opinions with everybody that's listening in. And we do have a couple people listening in. We have, like I said, we got Patrick listening in on Twitch. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. He says, good conversation. Thank you for being a part of the show. We got Heaven listening in as well. Thank you so much for being a part of the show as well. It's definitely such a pleasure to have you on board. Now, just like them, if you want to be a part of the show, make sure that you drop a comment down below. Make sure that you hit that thumbs up button as well, so that I know you like what we're talking about. Now, with that being said, let's get on into the conversation. We were having a very it's a hard conversation to have, but it's definitely a conversation that we need to hear, and that's with regards to the Afghanistan situation. Okay, I've been telling you how the situation in Afghanistan is getting worse and worse. How 70,700 people have been displaced, have left the country or fled the country so far because of the Taliban takeover. But right now, what I do want to talk to you about is the fact that apparently the UN has received credible reports, and I quote, credible reports of executions of civilians by Taliban. And that to me is so scary. It's so heartbreaking, but this is the truth. And as hard as it is to have this conversation, like I always say, all of us, even though we're divided by race, even though we're divided by gender, even though we're divided by the borders of our countries, we all belong to one community. And that community is the human race. And I feel like if some of us are hurting, then all of us are hurting. And our brothers and sisters that's living in Afghanistan are going through such a terrible situation right now. And I just want to keep you informed of everything that's happening. So, according to the United Nations, they received harrowing, and this is a quote, okay? The United Nations received harrowing and credible reports of human rights abuses by the Taliban in Afghanistan, including a summary of executions of civilians, okay? And apparently, speaking on Tuesday, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Michelle Bachelet, said that the reports of humanitarian and human rights abuses include summary executions of civilians and combat members of Afghan national security forces, which is so scary, but it's what's happening. And she said that the UN had a fundamental red line, which was the Taliban's treatment of women and girls. Now, I don't know if you watched the video of where the Taliban officials were actually saying that, it's probably going to be different, and how, the situation is going to be different as opposed to the previous Taliban takeover before the American troops took over. Apparently, they said that the rights were going to look into, and that women and girls will be treated with equality. But apparently, that's not the case. According to the UN, that is definitely not the case. And with the Taliban back in control of Afghanistan after about 20 years, many in the country and around the world are deadly afraid that they're going to bring a return to the brutal Islamic law of the past, where women and girls suffered with the lack of the most basic and with the lack of the most fundamental human rights. Now, of course, Taliban leaders have attempted, like I told you, they attempted to portray an image of moderation in interviews. And I myself did watch the interview, and as crazy as this may sound, when I did watch the interview, and I spoke to you about the interview a few days back, and I told you how I myself kind of felt a little bit okay when I did watch the interview, because they said that they were going to practice a basic human rights or whatnot, and that interview genuinely made me feel a little bit more hopeful. But that is definitely not the case, and that was just a picture, that was just a facade that was created by the Taliban leaders. Now, of course, of course, there's going to be the UN also said that there is nothing that they can do as of now, because basically it's the Taliban's control of the country. But it's actually so crazy to know what's happening, but it's actually what is happening in Afghanistan. And I just wanted to give you an overview of what was happening to keep you informed and inspired. I know this is hard conversation to have, but like I always say, if one of us are suffering, all of us are suffering, and that's why I wanted to keep you informed of everything that's happening. With that being said, we're going to head on off into a little break, but make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio.